Thank you everyone for coming. Good morning. I'm Noe Ortega and I have the honor of serving as Pennsylvania's Secretary of Education. I'm joined here today by our partners and friends at FAFSA, the Harrisburg University of Science and Technology, and members of the General Assembly as well. So thank you, Representative, for joining us today. A special thank you to each of you joining us here today to remind us that students of PHEAA need to submit their free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, as it's most commonly known. Speaking as a Secretary of Education, I can stand here and list off the reasons why it's so important for learners of all ages to continue their education. I can also speak to the need to make higher education more affordable and accessible to all students, but today I'm going to speak specifically to you as lifelong learners such as myself. Each day, whether I'm reporting to my office just across the street from here or interacting with colleagues, stakeholders, or constituents, I find myself learning something new. Each day, I learn a little bit more about Pennsylvania's education system and new ways to advocate for it. And each day, I learn something more about myself and my role as a leader. The only reason I am afforded the opportunity to keep learning and growing is because many years ago, I chose to pursue my interests to further my educational career as well. In fact, I am a first-generation college student, and that's something that fills me with a great immense of pride and immense gratitude as well. My parents worked incredibly hard to instill in me a belief in myself and my abilities, and to have the courage to reach for my goals. I would be remiss if I didn't thank all those who lent support, from educators, counselors, folks who provided me the pathway to post-secondary education by giving me the information for when it was time for me to do things like fill out the FAFSA form as well. Believe me, I understand how daunting it could be as a young learner to make the choice to continue your education. There are so many options to choose from, so many possible careers, so many different places to learn, and I know there are also so many applications to fill out, deadlines to adhere to, and materials that you have to collect. That part can be less exciting, but it's also extremely critical. By submitting the FAFSA, students are doing more than just opening the doors to the future. They're opening doors to more options, to more experiences, and most importantly, they're making those doors easier to open for others. The FAFSA helps current and prospective students further their education in an affordable way. And that's something that's needed now more than ever. With so much uncertainty in the world and the current state of affairs, it's important that students look to create certainty and stability in their future. We need more folks to pursue a post-secondary education and take on roles such as ours, those of us standing here. We need you to become members of the General Assembly. We need you to become CEOs of organizations like FAFSA, presidents, vice presidents of institutions of higher education such as Harrisburg University, and we need you to fill roles such as mine, like the Secretary of Education. And one day you will use your voice and leadership to encourage individuals to live to their full potential. But for today, that journey begins with filling out the FAFSA. Let me end by thanking all our learners for your continued hard work and resiliency over the past year and a half. And a special thanks to our educators, our counselors, the support, all the folks who lend a hand to Pennsylvania's learners each and every day. With that now, let me turn over the podium to Representative Delosier. Did I pronounce that correctly? And then we'll continue with this press conference. So thank you very much. Madam Representative.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be able to be part of this. We have, with the board at FAFSA, the objective is to make sure that more people are able to have further their education in a way that is very, very important to be at the lowest cost possible. So today, the ability to talk about FAFSA is very important because that starts the process for so many. So submitting the FAFSA form is the first step in determining eligibility for both federal and state student aid. Many folks feel that, get confused as to different types of aid. This form is great for the fact that it it allows you to be eligible for both. So by timing, the issue that comes along with it, as was mentioned by the Secretary, is deadlines. Deadlines are very important, and if you don't make the deadlines, as you'll learn, not only in your furthering your education, but certainly in your life, if you don't make those deadlines, you miss a great opportunity. So it's crucial that you pay attention, and students must complete the FAFSA form as soon as possible to maximize their eligibility for all types of student aid. Once you have this data in place, it really allows you to have access to many more opportunities than you may not even think of that you're eligible for. So if a student delays or misses the deadline, they could miss out on thousands of dollars of available student aid funding. The deadline is especially important as FAFSA board member to make sure that people are aware of it, and it's May 1st, and that it's the PA State Grant Program. That date is so important because grants are so important to our students. The PA State Grant Program is providing a maximum award of $5,000. We've been trying to increase that as much as possible to allow for more and more assistance to our students. And we have served over 110,000 students in Pennsylvania during the current academic year. So all of those families and all of those students recognize the importance of all of the student aid. And unlike student loans, the PA Grant Program does not need to be repaid. This is something that is a pressure and a stressor for many of those once they get out, is how am I going to repay this? Applying for the grant program allows you to have dollars towards your education, and ones that we want to assist you with, but allows you to not have that stressor of having to pay it back. This makes college an affordable reality for many students that might not have that opportunity, or even whether it's college or any kind of training, the ability for us to further your education is very, very important. I also want to call attention to an alarming statistic that FAFSA has been tracking, and that's about 43,000 fewer Pennsylvania students have submitted the 22-23 FAFSA since it became available in October, and that's not a good sign. So that's why we need to encourage those that are out there to file this form and get it in place. It is compared that FAFSA submission last year is an 18% decline. We can't have that. We need our students to take advantage of those avenues that are out there. And due to the continued uncertainty, certainly with COVID, everybody's not sure what's going to happen, and we recognize that concern, but it doesn't mean you can't fill out the form. That doesn't stop you. Even if you're totally undecided, fill out the form and be able to take advantage, because it might open some doors that you may never have known that were there. It's very important to fill this form out, and I know that the dauntingness of state forms is something that is overwhelming to many, whether it's your student filling it out or a parent filling it out. I have a junior and a freshman in college, so I just recently filled these forms out twice. And yes, they can be daunting, and yes, you need certain information. But one of the things that's important is all of the documentation from your IRS form and all the financial form. That was what was overwhelming to me, is how am I going to get all these numbers? It is an autofill to your IRS account. You can automatically say, yes, go to my tax return. It autofills back. So some of that daunting of do I remember all the numbers for my income level and everything that I put on my tax return? I certainly don't remember that. Most people don't. This autofill is something that I'm telling you, the first time I filled it, I was like, oh, this is great. So it fills it for you, and then you can move on and make sure that you're a part of the system, and making sure that you're taking advantage of what needs to be done. So those that are making the college decisions and are being held back by COVID, this is something that you need to move forward on. But missing out on thousands of dollars simply by missing a deadline is not something that we want you to do. Hence why we're here today, to encourage you to fill out that FAFSA form and take advantage of what's there. History has shown us that the ability for us to have higher education have a positive impact on health and financial well-being for the rest of your life. So making these decisions now as a young person is very important for what you will see for the rest of your life. So we at FAFSA want to make sure that you know about these deadlines. Please visit the website, go on, take a look at what those are. There's lots of opportunities out there. There's also low interest loans as well that are a separate entity. We just want to try and make your education, however you choose and whatever path that you choose, is the best one for you, and that we're there to support you to do so. We want people to graduate and come out of our education system without as many loans or as much debt. So the more that we can help get that education and get that information out there, the better I think we all are as a state. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to John Friend, Vice President for Admissions and Secondary Schools for Harrisburg University. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you, Representative Delosier. And my remarks just got a lot shorter, and instead of repeating everything that Secretary and Representative said today. No, that's fine. That's great. It is a privilege to have you here today at HU. We're very happy to host this event. We understand the importance of the FAFSA filing, and particularly by the deadline. We work very hard at that. I see the Director of Admissions in the back here, Lori Barrow. Her team works every day talking to the inquiries here at Harrisburg University about completing the FAFSA. Our Director of Financial Aid, Chris Mao, does the same, packaging scholarships for our students and making sure that he has all the information he needs, and that FAFSA filing is extremely important. So last year, just a little statistic about HU, 94% of our undergraduate students who were eligible to complete a FAFSA did so. So that's a good number for us. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it is important to get it done by May 1st. All of the other things that I was going to mention related to FAFSA have been said, but I think it's important. We have a senior here today, one of our students, Rachel Skinner, and she's going to share her personal experiences about college and how FAFSA related. Rachel?
Hello, and thank you for having me. As he has said, my name is Rachel Skinner, and I am a senior at Harrisburg University of Science and Technology, and my current study is management and entrepreneurship. The completion of the FAFSA has resulted in me receiving a federal Pell Grant every year that reduces my tuition cost. This has increased my chances of being able to afford education beyond a high school degree. Coming from a single-parent home and an area that I did not think I would be able to afford college has limited my options and a way for me to pay for my high school and college education. The FAFSA and the state grants has enabled me to do this and to receive what is called a last dollar scholarship from Harrisburg University, which as long as I complete the FAFSA on time and in May, I can maintain academic progress and standing, then that guarantees me a discounted rate at Harrisburg University. This enabled me to attend Harrisburg University without having to pay out of pocket. I am extremely grateful for the continued help from the FAFSA and the PHEAA. And because of this has opened the doors to my lifelong education for not only me, but hopefully my future children. Thank you.
We've heard from students, we've heard from advocates who are here to provide support and emphasize the importance of getting your FAFSA form submitted. And for this, it's really going to make a difference to really make this post-secondary pathway a reality and affordable one for a number of people. So with that, we're happy to take any questions if any members of the press or media are out there. And if not, we're more than happy to conclude this press conference. Thank you.